Hello and welcome. Yes, a very good evening or good afternoon from Student Connect Limited. We welcome all our participants to the Chevening Scholarship, the webinar. So today we'll be discussing a bit about, the scholarship, the process, and everything in details. And we'll give like a few more minutes so that everyone can join. And just to let you know, if you are still struggling or someone is struggling to join, you can join us either on our Facebook page or on our the YouTube channel as well. To start with, let's start a bit about who we are, who is Student Connect Limited. So we are proud to be one of the largest, the higher education consultant for the UK market. We have been in business for over 15 years, and we take pride in having like we have multiple offices in many of the countries. For example, we have a few branch offices in Bangladesh, and apart from that, we have our branch offices in Ghana and in Nigeria, and our head office is based in the UK. If you have any query or whatever it is, you can always feel free to reach us directly, and all our contacts number based on the regions and everything are provided in the display as well. All right. So one of the amazing things today is that, definitely we are going to talk about the Chevening Scholarship, but we want to introduce you to the three of our Chevening scholars who got the Chevening Scholarship from us in the last year and the current year as well. So, we are more than happy to present you the three of our Chevening scholars. So, I won't take much of your time. I'll straight go to one of our Chevening scholars who has already done with her course, and she is Tuhi. And so I'll give the floor to Tuhi to show you guys more into details, how the scholarship works and what's the processing and everything. Thank you.
Thank you. So, hi everyone. Good evening from Bangladesh. So, my name is Tahia Shaurin. I also go by the name Tuhi, which is my nickname. I graduated from Asian University for Women based in Chittagong in 2019. And then, right after my graduation, I started my professional career. I worked in Cox's Bazar with multiple organizations. I started my career with an international NGO named Danish Refugee Council, and then I also worked with ICRC, which is International Committee of the Red Cross, and then I briefly worked with UNHCR as well, just before coming to England. And then in 2024, I was selected for the Chevening Scholarship, which allowed me to pursue my master's in England. So I finished my master's on migration and global development from University of Sussex. So I was in Chevening 2024-25 cohort, and I finished my master's in 2025, and then I came back to Bangladesh, and now currently I'm working at Asian University for Women in the admissions department as a deputy director of admissions. So that's all about me. Should we introduce the rest of the participants first, or we go directly into the presentation?
I think we can move to the presentation, and then everyone has their turn. They can introduce themselves. If you just maybe start with the presentation. Thank you.
Okay. So here we are going to discuss basically what exactly we understand when we say Chevening Scholarship. We know this is a highly prestigious scholarship, but what exactly it covers, or why it is so prestigious, or why we should at least try to pursue this scholarship. Because in my opinion, there is this such a big image of Chevening Scholarship that most of the students, most of the people do not even give it a try, thinking this is so out of their league. I know that because I was one of those persons, and then I thought, why not just giving it a single try? And trust me, this one attempt is all we need. So this is never, nothing is never out of our league or out of our bag. Yeah. So let's see what exactly is Chevening. Can we move to the next slide? Yeah. So basically, Chevening Scholarship is a UK government's flagship fully funded scholarship. And this is funded by FCDO, which is known as Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. And this offers Chevening Scholarship basically, unlike other scholarships, it does not necessarily provide funding to only those who come from who face economic hardship or who have difficulties like paying for their tuition fees or something like that. You do not necessarily have to belong from any such background. Rather, Chevening Scholarship promotes the future leaders, and then it makes you a part of a very prestigious global network, because when you are studying in an international environment, you are basically interacting with lots of people, lots of foreign faculties and everyone. And this gives you the opportunity to pursue your 1 year masters in England, in UK actually. So Chevening is available in 160 plus countries and territories, including Bangladesh. And about the country list, you will find the whole list in Chevening website. In my opinion, Chevening has the cleanest website you can ever find. Basically, if you go through Chevening website for like half an hour or one dedicated hour, you cannot have any confusion at all. And then what we see is more than just a scholarship. Chevening, as I have mentioned already, it's a global network of leaders and innovators and change makers. So Cheveners, they have been entrepreneurs, and then they're leading their countries. They have been into academics, into humanitarian sectors, into judiciary, government services, and in all the places. Next slide, please. Okay, so why choose Chevening? When we say Chevening is a fully funded scholarship, what exactly we mean by fully funded? Oftentimes we think that it's only going to cover my tuition fees or maybe some deposit money, things like that. But if we look at the slide and if we look at the boxes, first comes full tuition fees. So Chevening covers the complete cost of university tuition throughout the program. So whichever university you are choosing that is affiliated with Chevening or that is supported with Chevening Fund, your whole tuition fee will be covered by Chevening. And then comes monthly living allowance. Not only your tuition fees will be covered by Chevening, you will also receive a certain amount of monthly living allowance. And the allowance basically adjusts every year, adjusting with the inflation rate. So when I was a Chevener, I received a certain amount, and for the next cohort, they received a slightly higher amount, adjusting with the inflation rate. And this basically helps you to cover your accommodation cost, your food, your basic necessities, almost everything. And then comes the round trip airfare. So Chevening also covers your round trip airfare. That means that when you're heading towards UK and when you're coming back to your country, Chevening will cover that airfare. Now there is a question that what if I want to visit my country in the middle of the year? Let's say I want to take a holiday and then come back to my country and visit my family. Will Chevening cover that? No, Chevening will not cover that, because that is going to be our personal plan. So Chevening will not necessarily cover that. What Chevening only covers is that your 1 year round trip airfare. And then comes all the additional cost, such as the UK visa application or the insurance fee. Everything will be covered by Chevening. And then also arrival and departure allowance, which means that you will receive a certain allowance just to help you settle down in a new country, because we need a lots of things to be prepared for when we are moving into a new country. So Chevening basically covers that as well. And finally, as we see, travel grants, scholars receive. Um, I think the slide is gone. Okay, let me continue anyway. So when we mean travel grants, it basically means that scholars receive funding to attend selected academic, networking, and cultural events throughout the UK. So when you arrive in the UK, Chevening will held an orientation program for you. And if there are any other programs that is held by Chevening, your cost to attend that program will also be covered by Chevening. So if you really think about it, all your costs will be covered by Chevening. All you have to do is just pack your bag and go to the new country and just pursue your masters. That's all. So when we say Chevening is a full funded scholarship. We often hear questions like, okay, even if it's a full funded scholarship, there has to be some cost that needs to be covered from my end. But trust me that there will never be any cost that has to be covered from your end. Chevening will cover every single thing. Next slide, please. All right. So now let's see who can apply. First of all comes citizenship. So as we have mentioned earlier, Chevening covers almost 160 plus countries. So basically all the citizens of those countries will be eligible to apply for Chevening scholarship, and Bangladesh is one of those countries that is eligible for the scholarship. Now comes education. You must have an undergraduate degree that qualifies them for admission to a UK master's program. And work experience, applicants need at least 2800 hours of work experience after completing their undergraduate degree. Now this is a very crucial point because this is a new update from Chevening. Previously this clause was not there, that the work experience has to be particularly after you complete your undergraduate degree. Previously it used to be counted your previous experience as well, but now you have to be very careful while counting your work experience. It must need to be after completing your undergraduate degree. And when we say 2800 hours of work, uh, roughly um, that roughly adds up to 2 years of work experience. So if you have graduated in 2000, let's say 2020, you could be eligible to apply for Chevening scholarship in 2023. Yeah. And let's see what eligible experience includes. So it does not necessarily mean that you must hold a full-time employment, but your part-time employment, your paid internships, unpaid internships, and volunteering also count as work experience. But what we have to be really careful about is that all these eligible experience must add up to 2800 hours of work. Next slide, please. Okay, so choosing your master's program, this is very crucial because one common misconception is that Chevening does not assign a university or program. Applicants choose three eligible master's programs themselves. What we have to be careful about is that not all the universities are supported by Chevening funding. So when you go to the Chevening website, you will see a particular section named find a course, and if you go to that particular section, you will see what are the university list appears and what are the programs that is supported by the Chevening funding. So when you choose your subject, when you choose your university, you have to make sure that your university and your subject is supported by the Chevening program. So it has to be a full-time master's, it has to be a taught program, and the class has to start in autumn, which is September and sometimes in October, and be offered by eligible UK universities. What Chevening does not support or does not provide is funding for PhD programs, for undergraduate degree, for distance learning programs, and part-time programs. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is probably the biggest confusion that most of the candidates have around Chevening scholarship, that do I need university admission before applying? The answer is no, you do not need the university admission while applying for the Chevening scholarship. But what we have to remember is that applying for the university and applying for the scholarship, these are two different processes. But these two different processes have to go simultaneously. So let's say you have received your offer letter, but you do not have the funding. So if you need funding, you cannot necessarily start your master's. But you have the scholarship funding, but you do not have the offer letter. So what you are going to do with the funding? So you cannot start your master's again. So now you can apply for Chevening before you receive the offer letters. But when you are finished, you must receive your offer letter before you actually sit for your interview. And while you are applying for the scholarship, there will be detailed sections where you need to put your university name and your chosen programs. So you will be able to put three options in your Chevening application. So even if you do not have the offer letter of the universities, you have to know what are the universities you're aiming for. So you cannot just randomly put some universities because you were not so prepared, or you cannot just randomly put some courses, but you have to do your research beforehand and then be quite sure that, okay, I want to study in these three universities or in these three subjects, and then you put those three universities or three courses in the chevening list. And then later on, in the later stage, before you actually participate in the interview, you must have your offer letter. So what you can do is you submit your chevening application with your given choices of the university. Then you start applying for the universities as soon as possible. So basically, the order goes: submit the chevening application, like I mentioned, and simultaneously you have to list three eligible master's program in your application already. And then comes the separate part: apply separately to those universities. And then before interview, if selected after interviews, obtain at least one unconditional university offer before the deadline. So this is basically the process, and what we must need to remember is that they have to go simultaneously. You cannot continue with one process without completing the other one. Yeah. Okay, so the complete application process goes like: first of all, as I mentioned, we have to be really sure that what universities we want to study in. So you have to research really, really well that what are the universities or what are the master's programs are available. And like I said, the key point is that the universities or the courses have to be funded by Chevening. Now, step two is prepare all required documents, including CV, passport, employment history, 4SS, which is a whole another discussion. This is the key element of chevening application, your 4SS, because you can have a very high profile, you can be a very potential candidate, but if your essays are not well aligned or if your essays are not up to the mark, trust me, your experiences will not matter at all. You will not be selected. Now comes the third step, that is submit your chevening application, which the timeline is roughly August to October. Step four is apply separately to your chosen universities and begin the admission process. And the next step is applications are reviewed and shortlisted candidates are invited for interviews. And this step usually takes part in February. So if you have submitted your application at the last moment, let's say first week of October, still you should be expecting to receive an answer from Chevening in February, either first or second week. And then comes the interview part. When you are called for the when you are shortlisted, you attend for the interview. And step seven is receive final award letter and travel to the UK and begin your master's program. So these are all the steps. And now I have to mention one more additional step. This is exactly not a step, but this can happen to many of the students, that sometimes we put some universities and later on there might be a stage where I feel like I'm a bit confused about one university and I want to change my option of the university. So many candidates ask that, can I change my university choices later? So you will be given that chance actually, but that will only take place in the interview stage. So when you attend the chevening interview, after attending the chevening interview, the board will ask you whether you are all right with your given choices or whether you want to change any of the options. So there actually you get the option to mention that, if you whether you are okay with your given choices or whether you are having a second thought and now you have chosen a different university. This is exactly not a step, but it's just another frequently asked question. Yeah, next slide please. Okay, since we have spoken about the steps, now let's look at the typical timeline. So chevening, you have to be very persistent, you have to be very patient, because as highly prestigious this scholarship is, this is a very long and rigorous process. So if you look at the timeline, the process starts in August and finally you start your journey in next year September. So that is almost like 1 year or 13 months. So in August, for Chevening application portal will be opened, and then the portal closes in early October. I remember for my cohort, the deadline was probably 7th of October. So this is, it's always some time around that, like 5th of October, 6th of October, sometime around that. And then from October to January, it goes for the application assessment. So they read the essays and all the profiles, and then, as I mentioned, in February, candidates start receiving interview invitations. So now you receive the email if you are being shortlisted. And then from March to April, there goes the interview slots, and in June the scholarship results are announced, uh, typically in mid of June. I remember my one was in mid of June, and probably last year also it was mid of June. And in July, you submit all your unconditional university offer. Basically, you have to submit one. But if you want, you can submit all three, but you just give them a final answer that among all three, I want to study here. And finally, in September, you go to the UK to begin your class. Next slide. Yeah. So how long does the process take? I have covered this already. The process, it's a very rigorous process. So it takes up to 13 months. And this extended timeline means applications should prepare well in advance. Starting your preparation early is crucial for success. Plan to begin researching and preparing at least 3 to 4 months before applications open, because when we look at the process now, it might seem pretty simple, that okay, it's just another admission process. I just sit for the application, provide all the documents, write my essay. But writing the essays, it's the most crucial point. So you really have to be very careful, and you really have to be prepared, like what exactly you are going to write in the essays, or what exactly you are trying to portray. So you have to remember, like if Chevening is investing in you, you have to pursue them, that why this investment is worthy, or what they see in you as a future leader. So that does take some, like, heavy preparation. Next slide, please. All right.
Yep,
So I
that's
think
done
I
from
have
your end,
covered so
Tuhi.
far. Yeah. Thank
Yep,
you
thank
so
you
much.
so much, Suhi. Yep, thank you for taking the trouble of explaining literally everything that an individual needs to understand. Yep, regarding the scholarship and everything. So by now, yep, all the participants who are already with us, I hope you understand the whole process, yeah, from the very first stage till how it ends, right? However, as we keep saying, you might get a bit confused. Yep. In case you are confused, please feel free to connect us at one of our branch offices. As I said it earlier, we have multiple branch offices, yep, over various countries as well. However, if you feel like yep, there is no office in your country or something like that, please feel free to contact us directly, yep, at our head office in London. And now, as so the first process is done, yeah, that is how the scholarship works, how to begin the application and everything. So to start with our second Chevening scholar, yep, I'll ask Mr. Saidin Nahi. Yep, the floor is now yours, Mr. Nahi. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am introducing myself. I'm Mohammed Saidin Nahin. I work as a judge in Bangladesh. I'm from Bangladesh Judicial Service, and I am right now living in Leeds, in the northern part of England. I'm studying my master's in international human rights in University of Leeds, and I am from 25-26 cohort of Chevening Scholarship. So after the elaborate presentation of Tahia, there's nothing much to add. I just want to add one thing, which is about your IELTS score. So just please be remembered that you don't need any IELTS score for applying into the Chevening scholarship, because the IELTS score is completely it's completely dependent on your university. So this is completely required for your university admission. So Chevening has to do nothing with your IELTS. So please be remember that. So I would suggest you must cut your coat according to your clothes. That means you should first sit for your IELTS exam. Then, according to the marks, you must choose your universities. So that will help you to plan ahead. And another thing is, I might want to add, which is, what does Shivning want to see inside you? The main thing Shivning just want to see, the authority wants to see, is that if you have the leadership quality in your respective field. So whatever the field you belong to, if you are the leader, if you can see the potential in if they can see the potential in you, so you will must have the quality to be a chevening scholar. So there are many presidents and prime minister, in fact, in many countries who are chevening scholars. And I believe the chevening alumni network is one of the strongest, not if not the largest, in the whole world. And this alumni network is so strong that in many countries, the whole management system of that country, or whole management system, if a large business, a large conglomerate of the whole world, if it is dependent on very famous evening alumnus. And I would add, I want to add another thing about evening, is that it's a very beautiful experience living here in the UK. You will you will experience a diverse culture, and you can get as much experience as you can, and it is a lifelong experience which you will just cherish in your whole life. That's the thing. Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah. So thank you so much, Mr. Saitin Nahi, yeah, for the short but very amazing presentation. Yeah, that highlights your personal experience as well. All right. And as I keep saying, if you get a bit confused or if you have any queries, yeah, please, always feel free to contact us. Yeah, so that we or maybe some other counselors, yeah, they will definitely get in touch with you and will explain everything in details. All right. So we have one more chevening scholars for today, and to start with him, I would like him, to share his personal experience in the UK. So now that we are done about how the chevening thing works, so how the scholarship works, the ways to apply, and then we have got a bit of knowledge about the the admissions and how the IELTS works. As I keep saying, some people often gets confused whether I should wait for my IELTS result for the chevening or not. No, the IELTS is an academic entry requirement by your university, but for chevening, as they kept saying, you do not need to wait for the IELTS or anything. Yeah, the chevening scholarship, you can do the application because there is a certain window. So please feel free to connect us so that we can take you throughout the whole application process. Yeah. Now I'll move to Mr. Jengi so that he can share his personal experience. I mean, the life in the UK. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Student Connect, for inviting me to this session. My name is Shobuktugin Ahmed Jengi. I'm doing my master's in international development, conflict, and humanitarian action at the University of Bath. To talk about a brief on my background, professionally I was a civil engineer once upon a time, for quite long ago, because my first degree, bachelor's, was from Chittagong Engineering University of Technology in civil engineering. And then I did a master's, which was part-time while I was working from North-South in environmental management. And currently now I'm pursuing international development. Professionally, I worked for some time in the corporate sector as an engineer. But over the period, starting from 2016, I started my development career with an NGO. And then since 2017, I've been with UNHCR, United Nations High Commission for the Refugees. Some period I definitely worked as an engineer, but over the period my role got shifted towards more coordination role, And for the last 5 years before coming here, in fact, I was doing more like diplomatic role, government relations, external visit, external communications. This so more into core humanitarian affairs related thing. So that kind of played a huge role why I choose for this, why I went for this masters, a particular masters in international development with conflict and humanitarian action. And this is one of the thing I really wanted to highlight, because while you're going to choose your universities or courses, you must keep in mind that it has to align with your storyline. Like it could be you might pick your background in educational background, saying that why you are going for this particular subject in the next step with the support of chevening, or you might come up with a storyline that because of your trajectory in your careers, and now that you are somewhere and you're aspiring to be going to somewhere else further, this will be a supporting, or this will be something to add on a huge support to pursue these masters. And also it's helpful if you can align a bit on the UK's strategic positioning with the country's development planning. Like in mine, I tried to tap on how the strategic alignment of UK Bangladesh relationship kind of touch upon the subject I was trying to go for. So to say that it's not only gonna be a receiving application, it's gonna be like I'll be something contributing to you as well. So I have something to offer to you as well. So it should sound more like a collaborative, so that they feel interested. So a little tips while I'm talking. So talking about the UK life, okay, I'll start like this. When I choose the University of Bath, one of the big reason I wanted to really see, I really thought about Chevening scholarship not only for pursuing a master's degree. I wanted to really take it as an experience that should play a huge role in molding my life future. In terms of academically, of course, this is an academic program. However, I really was looking forward to more about some life-changing worldviews, maybe, or a think pattern, or my widening my outlook. And then I was really, if that is the goal, then how best I can really pursue that aspects that I'm really looking forward to. And that's why I choose Bath, because it's very multicultural, and it's a bit away from the diaspora community. So it's very comforting when you're in London. If you choose a London university, typically what happens, people tend to go for the comfort zone. So we have a huge diaspora community in London. So what will happen is, for accommodations and any other support, you eventually go to them, and you eventually end up having friends, like Bangladeshi friends. So this is what exactly I didn't want to. I really wanted to have explore exposure to the multiple country experience, so that I could have huge network across the world, which is kind of the big reason people choose Chevening, because Chevening is not only a scholarship program, it's basically a window towards a big networking community across basically every corner of the world. So it was one of the reason I choose Bath. And also I really wanted to have my exposure to the proper English culture that I get here in the Bath. It's a Roman architecture city in Bath, which is also very not very far from London. It's like 1.5 hour ride, train ride from London. In terms of UK life, which comes first is the weather. Um, so those who were from Bangladesh or South Asian or tropical country weather, we're kind of used to the weather where we have most of the time sunlight. Just remember that in UK you'll have a significant time of the year when you barely see sunlight. It will be like very gloomy, and we're used to that weather in rainy season, but for 1 day, 2 days maybe when there is a signal or something. But there could be period like week after week, just the same. You can't distinguish who is it a 9 a.m. morning or 5 p.m. evening. It all look the same. So just bear in mind that you will go through weather change shock, and don't worry, there you'll eventually adapt to it. The good thing about weather, but however, I'm talking is you don't really get sick very easily because the weather is really clean. The environment is really clean, almost dust free, almost everywhere. The waste are managed so well, you don't get bitten by mosquitoes or anything. So you'll be eventually healthy if you really take care of yourself properly. So you don't eventually fall in sick very quickly. And the other interesting thing, it's like a tendency to bring all kinds of clothes when we pack, and we think that okay, from our experience in Bangladeshi weather or South Asian weather, that okay, you might need this number of clothes, this number of shirts, this number of pants, because it will get dirty and then you have to wash it again, and that. And eventually calculating for 1 year, y- you end up, people often end up bringing a lot of stuff. And what happens technically is you end up having used one third of it only. The two third of it, you might end up like, there are so many clothes that I haven't yet touched even. One of the reason is you don't have to really wash your clothes very frequently. Things really keep clean if you really, if you are practically not very a hygiene person, or per se, let's say it like that. So don't bring too much clothes. This is not necessary at all. Just bring a minimum amount. For example, in Bangladeshi context, if I tell, for think about 2 months clothes. If you bring 2 months clothes, that should be enough. Then about, yes, when we buy clothes for and bring stuff for moving to England, like weather, UK like weather, we tend to bring only clothes and stuff for considering cold weather. But remember, very recently that we are going through now, in England, in UK weather, we have summer as well. So there will be summer. And then also when you're inside the house, um, okay, let's put it like this. Even in winter in Bangladesh, although you shut down all the doors and windows, you feel really the temperature inside. Although if it is not minus degree or anything, for say 10 degree, even 12 degrees, 14 degree down, still you feel that. But here, the insulation system is so good that when you shut down all the doors and windows, with the having the access to the heating system, little while you're inside, you practically wouldn't feel the temperature outside, no matter how low it is. So these are some concept helps if you know earlier to plan your movement. Okay, that's all about a bit of preparation when you come and what you expect and what should be your expectation. Now let's talk about a bit cultural thing. um, UK people are very polite, and the politeness sometimes put you in some confusions. I'll give you the example like this. Like if you face an interview in Bangladesh, like 3 or 4 interviews, and if you get one of it, and if you do not get two of it, and if you kind of got into the next stage for another of it, you might probably can guess like what has gone wrong, what was not appreciated, and which part was not accepted. But in UK, that's one of the huge problem that I got. Like I attended around like 4 interviews. I got two of it. I didn't get other two of it. And till today, I don't know why I got the two of it and why I didn't get the two of it. I'm giving you the example to be to just outline the fact that English are really polite, and this politeness oftentimes do not let them really talk to you or point it anything very straight to your face. But you have to read between the lines sometimes. For example, if they don't like something, like the way you do it, they don't say, no, I don't think that's how you should do it. They would say, yeah, there's another way to think about it. Now in Bangladeshi context, we would take, okay, maybe I'm also right, he thinks, but he's also right, he thinks, but it does here means like, I don't think you're right. So this is something that you will know eventually when you have experience with them staying and working together for sometimes. However, the English people are English culture. In English culture, they're very helpful all the time, and they respect the fact that privacy, when you do not really ask too many questions, be politeness, be formal. The formality word, I think, started from the English culture. Like formal thing is very much appreciated in English culture. Talking about a bit food. So literally in UK, there is no, I think at this point, we don't know even what is the proper UK food, because it is so much mingled with many cultures. Like every kinds of food of any countries has become a UK food. Like chicken tikka is like a national dish for UK. Like everyone have it, but it's like Indian food, right? Our biryani and everything, like literally everything has become English food now. So don't think about the food test, you will get your food anywhere, literally spices everywhere, any shops you can get them. So literally everything is available here. um, Talking about the social life a bit, uh, in UK is famous for its pub culture. So when we talk about pub, what first comes to our mind is people often go to pub or like bar, go for alcohol consumption, but it's not exactly that. It's more synonymous to our tonget dukan, like tea stall, I would say. Like when you want to really meet a friend, what we do is just come over to this tea stall, let's have a chat. For them it is pub, and in the pub you can get beer, you can get all the non-alcoholic drinks. It's not mandatory that you have to consume alcohol. There are halal drinks that you can easily get. There's so many mocktails, cocktails, and which is very much appreciated. The fact is, they like to meet in the pubs. There are so many different pubs, very interesting pubs as well. These are not boring. Some are very famous for sports, some are very famous for its in-house board games, and so many different. And sometimes the pub quiz is one of the very interesting thing that I like about, like where each, like you form a group with your friends and you subscribe as a team, and then you compete with the other four teams in a pub while you are having your drinks and social time. Then you can compete amongst each other, which is very nice culture. That's how you learn a lot as for many things. And then and then talking about the beautiful sites, the most of the English, UK sites are free, but there are some museums and stuff. Access to some sites you might have to pay. However, most of the sites are accessible using public transport. So I think that is one of the main goal that I came for, to travel as much as possible, that I have done so far, and I'm trying to do in the next coming months as well. Uh, so yeah, English sites are really interesting, very beautiful sites, and then also historically also very important. You learn a lot. They preserved all the historical sites very well, and also since, okay, how should I put it like this? Yes, of course, since through their presence across the world, the English has literally brought the history of the world, I would say. So if you go to the museums, you literally get an exposure of the world history of every corner, literally. So these are the more like English life, and generally talking. I basically missed a very important thing: the culture, education culture. So what happened in we're used to that professors in our universities, they tend to give more attention to the students who tend to score a lot, like for like typically the first benchers, if you say the rank holders. But what I like about here is they don't care about the scores. Like no matter how much score you do, they care more about your intellectual capacity to provide input. So any class, doesn't matter whether you are the first rank holder or you are a low scorer, but if you are the one who really thinks and really eagerly participate, they really appreciate that so much. And when you reach out to a professor or a unit coordinator with your concern and your topic, they take it very seriously. And then oftentimes I was under the impression, like when I have to write a 4,000 word essay, like there's this perception, okay, who reads all these words? They might just go the main section of it, try to understand of it. No, They literally go through each and every word of it, every letter of it. Even they will point it out where you have missed a comma, where you have missed a colon, semicolon. So like that, every citation that you will be using. So saying that, it will be very friendly experience when you attend the classes. However, the evaluations are really very strict, and that means the marks that you will get after an exam, that truly represents your work evaluation. It's not something you can't really think that, okay, maybe somehow I did better, I didn't do well, but I did well. Maybe he didn't mark properly. Like the confusion that we often get in our having the experience from our Bangladeshi or South Asian educational systems, that you will not get. You will totally get your proper evaluation of your works. And then, yeah, academic support. I think it's not it's like culture in UK education system. You'll get exposure to any oral journals and everything with your university thing. So yeah, and part-time job, you get a lot of chance to do part-time job inside universities and also outside. So yeah, I try to kind of talk about here and there so many elements just to give you a vibe, like how it you may feel about when you come to study in UK. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, so yep, I think we are pretty much done with three of our Chevening scholars feedback and how the whole thing works. So as we are towards the end of our session, yep, I think you now have a much more clear idea of how the scholarship works. So that's the first part, and the second part is to align your scholarship application and the university application. And so that's exactly, yeah, where you can seek our help. So we always try to choose the right course for you. Let's say you come to us asking about the course that suits you. So definitely, yeah, we do ask you about your preference, but at some point, if you're still confused, yeah, we Student Connect will give you a one-to-one free consultation. By the way, I repeat, everything here is free. We do not have any service charge for the consultation. We do not have any service charge for the visa processing, for your admissions, for your application, and we do even prepare you for your interview as well. So everything will be done by us. So if there is no service charge, so please, you always try to grab this opportunity. We are more than happy to receive calls from you, to receive texts from you, and once you kind of give us the requirements, yeah, we try to find the right course. And once we find the right course and the right university, we do sit for a consultation, and we explain you why this course is right for you, why this university should be a better choice for you. And once you think it's a right decision, we straightforward go for the application process. And as for the Chevening, the essay writings and everything, so there are multiple groups, and I think once we are in a stage where we need to review the applications, we will try to suggest you the resources, the groups, yeah, from the Chevening scholars. Those will actually give you the feedback about your application. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And the last point was very important, as it says much of the UK life and everything. So look, remember, I mean, it's not just about the scholarship. I think it's a lifestyle. You get a very prestigious scholarship, you come to the UK, you have a 1 year scholarship, and you try to make the most out of this 1 year time. You study hard, you make a social like a circle, you roam about, you try the foods, you try the culture, you see the weather, you do everything. And when you come, maybe if it's done with your degree, you go back home. You don't only go back with a degree, yeah, but you go back with a fantastic experience, the whole of which you will be using not to be a leader, yeah, but a global leader. The whole degree, the whole thing, the whole takeaway from your degree, you use it, so that you can create a very positive impact, yeah, for the society we live in. All right. So it's time for the question answer session. So I'll address a few questions that we have already got from you guys. And one of the most important question that we do get a lot about Chevening scholarship is that, are you able to get the PSW once you are done with the degree? So the answer is no, as this is a full funded scholarship. Please remember, there is no such thing as a PSW. As soon as you are done with the degree, as per the contract between you and the Chevening, you need to go back to your country, because the things that you have gained, the things that you have learned, so there is a huge expectation from the society, so that you can, yeah, maybe deliver your experience, you see, for the betterment of the society. Now, this is a mandatory thing for 2 years. You need to go back to your country for 2 years, and yep, once you're done for 2 years, maybe you are planning to come for a PhD, or maybe you are missing some of the UK food, so why not come back to the UK? Yeah, you can always come back to the UK, but as I said, number one condition as part of the contract, once you are done with the chevening degree, I mean the scholarship and your degree as well, you need to come back to your home country for a 2 years period. Yeah, and then if you want, you can go to some other country, maybe come back to the UK as well. And number two is that, yeah, as it has already been mentioned, jobs. Yeah, as you are already like you're getting the living cost from the UK government and everything, are you still allowed to do a job? The answer is yes. The UK government still gives you to work as a part-time student. That means you can work for maximum of 20 hours. So let's say if you are bored at home, to be honest, yeah, so you find a job and you are working 2 days as well, so as your costs is covered, so this additional job could be a source of very good income for you as well. And so, yeah, these are two major questions. And okay, in a scenario, look, the chevening, yeah, is a very rigorous process, the scholarship and everything. What if you don't get selected for the scholarship, right? So there's nothing to be worried about. Let's say if you are planning to come for a self-funded, like a higher study, right? We are always here to support you. So we give you courses, yep, as per your budget, as per your previous academic entry requirement, and most importantly, what you aim to be in the future, right? So that means as per your career motivation. Yeah, we are always here to help you with the right counseling for the course. We are here to help you to do the application on behalf of you, to prepare you for the interview and to help you with the visa application as well. So yep, although we started with a chevening, yeah, be it a chevening or a self-funded, like your higher study, please remember, yep, the education in the UK is open for all. It's an amazing opportunity for all of you to come to the UK for higher education. Just keep in mind, be confident, have some faith in yourself, and a UK degree will never disappoint you. So that's pretty much yeah, from our side. And I think if we do not have any more questions, we can end the session here. And once again, so thanks a lot to three of our chevening scholars. Yeah, they might have been very busy, to be honest. So I do appreciate you guys coming, joining us, and me yeah, putting everything in such a nice details, a bit of formal and a bit of informal conversation as well. So guys, if you have any further question, as we keep saying again and again, please feel free to get back to us at Student Connect Limited. We are more than happy to help you, be it a chevening or a self-funded scholarship as well. Yep, I mean a self-funded, like a program as well. We are more than happy, yeah, to give free one-to-one counseling and obviously, yeah, take you throughout the whole admission process. I think we are done with the session. So yeah, I'll take your leave now. You guys have a very good evening, and please, for any questions, any queries, always feel free